to keep this in mind that it's still in beta. There are lots of things that are gonna change, but this is what it is right now. Hey y'all, hey. Okay, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, subscribe if you like it, and like, you know, put your thoughts below, because we are going to be talking about and if I keep looking down, I actually have notes written down so that I can stay on topic and on track and shit, and you know, whatever. But we're gonna be talking about a new app, or newer app. It's been around for a couple of months now. A lot of people know of it. Some people heard of it, don't know anything about it. We're going to be talking about it, just talking about different topics as it relates to the newer app called Clubhouse. And, you know, basically just diving in to what Clubhouse is. What is it? What's the tea? What goes on? Should I join? Can I join? My thoughts. Is it the future of social media? Etc. So let's dive in. It's been around for a few months now, and so much so that it is currently still in beta, which means that it's not open to the public. It's still in its like research phases. It's still in its phases to work out all the kinks. It's not ready for you know, a full launch. So beta is basically kind of like a soft launch, and seeing the interest, seeing what happens when, you know, more people join in. And if you guys hear a hissing noise and stuff, it's my radiator. New York shit. It allows for like the creators and, you know, the people who are actually building the app. It allows for them to fix things in a more easier format, rather than, you know, when IG crashes and it be gone for however long. But it allows for them to see the issues and try to fix them as it goes. But this whole beta feature, it's allowed for the app to be considered more, not A-list, but to be considered super exclusive, because they're only allowing certain people in at a time. I don't even know who had access first, but right now it's only on an invite basis. So that allows for it to be, oh, have you been invited? Like, did you get an invite? How can I get an invite? People are talking about this app. You know, it heightens the desire for people to want to join, because we know that people thrive, especially these days, thrive on exclusivity, thrive on just, you know, I'm doing something that you're not, I'm somewhere that you're not, and access. So honestly, that's a thought in itself. Like, would it be as popular or as poppin' or as like wanted if it was accessible? I think that that's a really good question, and I don't think that it would be as wanted if it was as accessible. But I also feel as though if it was as accessible right now, it also would not be like the same app. It would just be very different. So let me give you a rundown of what Clubhouse is. It's essentially let me actually read to you what it's described as, and then I'll give you what my summary of it is. It is described as a drop-in audio chat. It's a space for casual drop-in audio conversations with friends and other interesting people around the world. Go online anytime to chat with the people you follow, or hop in as a listener and hear what other people are talking about. Very simple, kind of like lack of detailed description. What Clubhouse is exactly that. It is drop-in audio, but I see it kind of as like different groups of people talking about different topics. It's kind of like a Reddit in terms of multiple topics are being discussed at the same time. It's a forum. It is a audio forum. So rather than, you know, everybody typing in whatever part of the forum, whether that be a main topic and a main topic or main question and answers, it is instead audio. It's actually a pretty basic application. Have to keep this in mind that it's still in beta. There are lots of things that are gonna change, but this is what it is right now. And right now it's very simplistic, it's very simple, and I think that that's actually one of my favorite parts about it. Actually, no, that's my second favorite part about it. My favorite part about it is how I feel like it's very different from all of the other socials right now, because I feel like they are actually striving, and they created the app for authenticity. And like that's my selling point for me. I'm so tired of all of the other, I mean, like, except for Twitter sometimes, you know, sometimes you can only get but so much of Twitter, but and scrolling, like, I am tired of the whole scrolling lifestyle, like the day and age where we live in, where, you know, is the norm. Like, all of that is, like, you get to your destination on your phone, you do scroll, you know, like, I'm so tired of it. It's so played. It's so played. And of course, a Clubhouse, you can scroll too, but I'm just saying, like, I'm tired of, like, that whole zombie, not living in your truth. I'm so tired of that. And of course, there's some outlets on, like, IG and even YouTube. Even YouTube implemented, like, the whole scroll, like, basically like a whole timeline. Tired of it. And even though there are places where you can find that in all outlets, like, there isn't an app that feels like it was built on that. And I feel like Clubhouse was built on that. And I can go into more details on why I feel like that. But let me go into the actual, like, interface of it. Essentially, if you imagine a club, not a party club, but like different clubs in, like, high school, or different membership groups in college, it's sort of similar to that in terms of there are multiple clubs in Clubhouse. It's a house full of clubs. I get it. Essentially what it is that there are clubs and then there are rooms. The clubs are different topics. It could be a question posed. It can be, you know, it could be an opinion. So you have your hallway, and your hallway is basically your timeline. It's your TL. It's your feed. It's everything like that, right? In your feed, in your hallway, just similar to high school. I'm gonna keep the whole high school thing because I feel like it connects. Just like how there are clubs in high school, you know, you have a hallway in high school, and you have different rooms in high school where you go to your different classes. So there are different rooms in this hallway, your TL. You scroll, and like I said, they're already kind of like established sectors, set houses is what I envision it as. Like, I'm thinking of kind of like Harry Potter type shit. Like, they're different, like, houses, or like in Twitter, the different sectors. Like, there's Black Twitter, there's whatever else Twitter. And those have kind of already been established. Like, the more super professional, and the more creative, fashion, photography, designer, stylists, makeup, all like that sector. Like I said in the description, you can drop in at any time. People are in this app at 5 a.m. in the morning. People are in this app until like you still see mad active groups at fucking 3 a.m. in the morning. Like, before people go to bed, people wake up and they're in the app. There's like morning affirmation sessions. the early risers who in the room, like it could be about yoga or prayer sessions or you know, like whatever. It could be fucking a welcome party for a new celebrity that joined the club. That's really just a roasting session. Like it can be multiple different things. These rooms then have the people who are speaking and or who created the rooms. The rooms can be attached to a club, similar to like the debate team in high school. You met at, you know, like some room to start talking about topics, right? Same ordeal. You know that the overarching theme is, you know, the debate team, and you're talking about different shit every time that you guys come together. Same thing. You could have a club that's like, let's just say Fashion 101. You're set to meet at Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. You can determine this. It could be once a week. It could be once a month. You can determine whatever the fuck you want. As a creator of the club, you can, you know, set the schedule. Each time you can then create the room for said topics, meeting on said days. Does that make sense? When you think about it as an actual club, like in school, and I feel like it makes a lot of sense because that's literally the rundown. And then when you actually get inside the rooms, then now switch your mindset and think about it as a panel, especially like the really big ones that you see like on TV, or if you've ever been to an actual like engagement. There's a person who created the whole thing, and then they set who the moderators are for the panel engagement. Same ordeal. The person creates the room, or if they created the club, then, you know, they created the room and they're automatically the moderator of the room. And then they can, you know, bring in moderators, and then they are on the stage. They are talking at the panel. They're on stage. Then you have the audience. So you have the moderators, the stage, who are on the stage, and then you have the audience. People in the audience in Clubhouse cannot speak. You're simply audience. You're simply peanut gallery. You're simply there. Like, you're just there for the audio. You're just there for the conversation. It's Clubhouse is conversation-based application. That's what it is. So you're just there for the conversation. Some people just like to listen. It's like mixing a podcast. It's like mixing LinkedIn with a podcast and a live forum. Some people just like to listen. Some people really like to talk. Some people need their opinions to be heard. Some people just want to kind of feel in control and have a whole room, and they're controlling the entire room and what's being said and who, if they even allow anybody on stage to speak. There are definitely rooms like that. So that's essentially the rundown. It's a whole clubhouse, which, think about it like high school. You have different groups, you have different clubs that you could be a part of. These clubs meet in different rooms, and in order to get to the rooms, you're walking in the hallway. And that's literally what it is. That was a pretty good explanation. When I finally got there, it was a good explanation. So, yeah, that's the basic rundown of like what it actually is. Of course, there are ground rules, like, conversations have been kind of, depending on the day, can get out of pocket in terms of like, if it's like a celebrity filled room, you know, it really went up when like the A&Rs and stuff like that got on there, and producers, you know, because people are obviously trying to get their music out there. One of my favorite things about Clubhouse is it really exploits like accessibility, and it really uses that to like the user advantage, and I enjoy that. Or even Instagram. The reason why I say LinkedIn is because I feel like right now Clubhouse is very much so pushed in a direction of networking. Like, just like how I described the A&R room, that's very much so networking within your industry heads. There's mad fashion rooms, very much so networking with different photographers. I've seen casting calls in Clubhouse rooms, like basically, you know, like getting that first insider information, knowing, you know, where to send your comp card, knowing where to send your shots, knowing when to send your audition stuff to first. And literally getting to speak to the casting director. You know what I mean? Like, very much so push for network. But then there's also, you know, those other rooms when you just don't feel like doing that. You don't feel like listening to that. I was in a room the other day about, oh yeah, I'm in Clubhouse, spoiler alert. I was in a room the other day about, you know, the vaccine. And, you know, somebody said, you know, I just got the vaccine a couple of days ago, ask me any questions that you want. Or it was mad doctors in a room talking about, you know, the vaccine and talking about how come Black communities do not participate in like study groups, and, you know, like the history of being shut out of those unless we were essentially, you know, used as guinea pigs against our own will historically. You know, it went into all of that, but also trying to talk about the importance of the vaccine coming from actual doctors themselves. So it's very interesting, and that's why I say, like, when you want to get a break, you definitely can. But I feel like right now it's really centered in networking and linking up with people who think like you, or people who are in the same industry as you, who may think differently, or who you wouldn't have had access to ever. So I think that that's an amazing part of the app. Will that still be the same outside of beta? I really don't know, which is why this beta is very, like, important, and I think that it's making the app, obviously, and it's really giving an advantage to the people who are currently in right now, because as soon as it gets to the point of letting everybody else in, I feel like obviously some of that authenticity is going to escape, you know? It's just going to be more people who are just there to, you know, to be there, to have the app. And I don't know. It's just going to change. Same thing with, like, when, you know, some artists, when they only had, you know, a crowd of 100 supporters and listeners, as compared to when they're globally known. Like, it's very rare that that artist, that 100, is the same as the artist globally known. You know what I mean? So it's gonna change. But I do really think that, I don't know, it's disrupted this SM space right now, social media space. And I think that the essence of it, the conversation and kind of like networking aspect, I feel like that could be a future of where social media could go. Because I really do feel like a lot of people are very tired of the whole surface level interaction. Some people are not, and that's fine. But I definitely feel like a lot of people are, and a lot of people are really fucking with what Clubhouse kind of stands for and what it has allowed for the people who are currently engaging. So I definitely have forgot to be checking my list of topics, so I'm going to be looking down. So I have, like, an agenda, basically. So let's go over some rules of Clubhouse right now. There are a few basic rules, like, that were written, and then I'm going to tell y'all some of the unwritten rules. Basic rules are, you know, really, like, have respect for each other. Don't be rude. Don't be, like, coming with good intentions, essentially. An interesting rule, which goes back to the authenticity that I was talking about, One of the first rules is that, well, one, you have to be invited. You can add your name to the wait list, but honestly, you ain't going nowhere on that wait list until it's out of beta. So you have to be invited. People are only allowed one invite, but I don't know. Some people are selling invites. Some people are giving out mad invites. I think that, you know, they're probably making different email addresses and stuff like that. And at this time, I don't think that like the founders of Clubhouse are really, you know, spending that time to try to sift through fake accounts or something like that, or fake emails. So I think that that's a current thing. Another rule is that you're supposed to be using your real name in Clubhouse. So like no stage names and people's what they go by on like Instagram or Twitter and stuff like that. Basically like your social media name is discouraged, and technically they say that if it's like you're reported as having like a pseudonym, then you can be kicked out of the app. Me, I go by Mrs. Monroe on the app. That's just me. You know, that is one of like the top rules, and that goes back, like I said, to that authenticity thing. Like I feel like they're really trying to push, even though you don't know me, it feels more real talking to somebody who's like their government rather than their tag, rather than their stage name. Another main rule is that you are not allowed, or not supposed to / allowed to screen record without people's permission, basically, in the rooms. Now, we have seen multiple different videos circulating of Clubhouse rooms, you know, people trying to basically inform their TL about what's going on in Clubhouse, but it's really kind of, to me, I think it's like underhanded, because it's very much so giving, this is what you miss, like this is what you're not a part of, but whatever. And I know that those people did not approve of recording, and actually I think there's a current case going on. Somebody's recording went out. I don't know the details. I just know that the person tried to clear their name on Clubhouse. I was not in the room because I just did not care. But yeah, be careful of that shit, because that could lead to other things if people are really like, you know, if people are being the ops, that could really lead to other things. So you're not supposed to screen record. Like that can get you kicked out off Bucks if somebody finds you and reports that you were the one who did it. And obviously it's a paper trail if you put that shit on Twitter saying, look at everybody roasting academics. Let's get into like the informal / unwritten rule.